Welcome to The Point of View. It's your favorite current affairs show on television here in Ghana. We're live on Citi TV. My name is Bernard Avle. On The Point of View, we get the right guests. We ask them the relevant questions on important issues that matter to you. And we always come up with some useful insights. We like to make the show interactive. So if you're watching on TV, make sure you send your views or your comments on the WhatsApp number on the screen. If you're watching on social media like Facebook, there's a stream that has a lot of comments. So tonight we're on a quest to find the whereabouts of the excavators. But that's not the only question we're asking. We're also looking for the Stop Galamsey Now fight. That fight started sometime in 2017. It's been 2 years and a few since we began that fight. It appears the fight has simmered down and the commitment of various parties doesn't seem to be on the same level we started with. So I'm going to be delving deep into these matters when I come up with my guests and also with some interesting people. Stay with us. So today we will be hearing from some very interesting people. We hear from the President of Ghana. We will remind him and you of what he said solemnly on the 17th of July, 2017, when he met chiefs and spoke about galamsey. We'll also unravel the characters behind this odyssey. There's a Minister of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. He's also the chairman of the Interministerial Committee on Stopping Illegal Mining. You'll also hear from the controversial Horace Ewusi, former Central Regional Vice Chairman of MPP, and now the dismissed, if you want, man in charge of transporting, what do you call it, excavators. You'd also hear from the man who took over from him. And of course, you would hear from the man who's the convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. So it's a busy show. We actually even went to some excavator sites, and you're going to see some interesting footages. We did a manual count of some of the excavators, and some numbers are not adding up. And I also have my reporter on the beat. He's been following illegal mining since the campaign started. So first we have Ken Ashigbey in studio. Ken is the convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. Ken, good to have you.
Thank you very much, Bernard.
Thank you for keeping the fire, because I know you have other things to do. When you started this, we were working in the media. Now you're working in telecoms, but you're still on the fight.
We're talking about telecommunications tonight.
I also have Kojo Agyeman. Kojo Agyeman is our special reporter on the beat. He's been covering, I think he went to almost all the galamsey sites in 2017 with John Peter Amewu. Yes, you visited. The only thing he doesn't have is a concession. He has everything. The only thing he doesn't have is a concession. So, Kojo, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
All right. Now, I'm going to remind you of what I did on the 17th of April, 2017. We all wore black T-shirts, went around Accra and parts of the Western region sharing flyers. We wanted people to be aware of the evils of galamsey. So, on the outskirts of Citi FM on the 17th of April, 2017, I spoke to camera explaining my commitment to stopping galamsey. Here's a quick excerpt of that. It's enough to raise awareness. It's good to raise awareness, but it's not enough. Raising awareness is great. Letting people know what's happening is fine. But we have specific things we think ought to be done within a specific period of time to reduce galamsey. First thing we said was, look, cease issuing mining licenses. Because as we speak, new mining licenses are being issued to small and medium-scale mining companies. So whilst the distraction is going on, we're talking about it and government says it's bad, as we speak, people are getting mining licenses which they are using to do the galamsey. So we think the government should cease issuing mining licenses immediately. Number two, we can say that all mining activities should stop while we trace the full length of the problem. Because if you don't know the seriousness of a problem, your approach may be wrong. And while the problem is going on, you may not be able to measure something that's moving. It's a moving target. So stop all mining and decide to take an inventory of the distraction. Number three, our water bodies have been seriously affected. We need to give a certain moratorium to allow our rivers, the Ankobra, the Pra, the Densu, the Ofin, all these water bodies have been polluted. And these water bodies, incidentally, are a source of fish and also a source of drinking water. We need to give them at least a year. It may take decades to retrieve the natural ecology of these water bodies. Our lands, we did stories on cocoa farms which have dwindled in their output because their lands have been taken over by miners. We're saying we need to do a land reclamation project. As part of the solution to galamsey, we need to plant trees. We need to find a way of bringing maybe even manure on the lands. There has to be a way of reclaiming the land. It's not enough to stop galamsey in terms of just stopping the mining. You must get the land back. And then we also say that we must reclassify mining, because right now you have people who have mining license for small-scale mining, and they go out there and bring huge machines to destroy the land. The intention of the law framers for small-scale mining is not what the people who are doing the small-scale mining are doing. So we must find a way of rethinking the legislation around galamsey as well. And we're asking people to join us. We know there are lots of coalitions being formed. People are sending out videos. Until we get angry about galamsey, it's not going to end. And until we physically get involved by putting our bodies on the line, it's not going to stop. Some of our reporters have gone to very dangerous places to do stories. We're going to escalate the leaflet and the t-shirt campaign to other regions in the course of the week. And we're hoping that by the end of the month of April, galamsey will become like a national emergency. There's no reason why the president should go to bed and sleep comfortably with galamsey going on. He must say to himself that, look, until this thing stops, I've failed. And there must be a task force, there must be a cabinet committee, they must take it as a very important issue. It shouldn't just be something, oh yes, we'll do it, and just give us a nice speech. No, the thing has to stop. And to think that somebody can go online and take a video of himself boldly saying that Gala with the in jail because he 100 Ghana Cedi. What is 100 Ghana Cedi compared to the future of our families? So for me, we need to generate enough outreach, and that's what we are doing. And we hope that it snowballs into something really, really big, and people will get involved, and hopefully will reclaim our lost environmental dignity. So that outrage I spoke about culminated in the formation of the media coalition against illegal mining, led by Ken Ashigbey, who is my guest. But 3 months after this formation, the president was pretty serious. He held a program at the Accra International Conference Center with chiefs from almost all the regions affected. And the president said some pretty serious things, which I want him to listen to again. He was very clear about the dangers of fighting galamsey and its electoral consequences. He explained how galamsey fed into the body politic, and he solemnly pledged to us that he would fight galamsey even if it meant he losing his election. In fact, he said, even if it meant I would be a one-term president, so be it. I want you to watch what the president said. 10th July, 2017.
The issue that has brought all of us here together is for the future of our country. We've gone through some difficult times in Ghana in the last few years and longer, and it has meant that a lot of people have had to find a way to keep body and soul together. So it's got people involved in all kinds of activities. And I can understand it, that the first duty of any man, any woman is to provide for their family. And you do it with the best means you can. But we have also to recognize that difficult as things have been and the looking for employment and stuff, there are things that we just cannot allow to happen. And one of them is the heritage, the inheritance that our fathers and our grandfathers, our great-grandfathers bequeathed to us, especially the space, the Ghanaian space, which we all occupy. We have a duty to preserve it for those who are coming after us. And if our river bodies are drying up, our landscape is being desecrated, we here, leaders of our society, leaders of our nation, political leaders, traditional rulers, religious leaders, we have a responsibility to say no. This, we cannot allow it to go on for our own common survival and the survival of those who are to come. If we allow it, we are jeopardizing our own future. Professor Frimpong Boateng goes on a conference in Abidjan, and there the Ivorian leaders tell him, you people are not helping us. This illegal mining that is taking place in Ghana is beginning to affect us. Our water bodies and our space in Côte d'Ivoire. Rivers, waters, even forests. They don't know national boundaries. They run across nations. And there he was, very embarrassed, very apologetic, that the activities of Ghanaians is jeopardizing the space of another, a fellow and neighbor country in our region. That's how serious the matter is. Rivers that have been with us for centuries are drying up. Forest areas which we should preserve for the sanctity of our life and our environment being devastated by this phenomenon of galamsey. And all kinds of people from all aspects of our national life are involved in this exercise. Security personnel, political leaders, businessmen, and dare say it, nananum. Some are all involved in this. So we sat down, we said to ourselves, we have a responsibility. When you take the oath, you are sworn to protect the integrity of the nation, Ghana. You sworn to uphold its constitution. You swear to uphold its sovereignty. That is that, the care of the nation, what's in it? Its people, its resources, its nature have been put in your care. As a trustee, like Nananum are trustees of the lands on which they occupy for their people, so you are too at the national level a trustee of the lands and the resources of our nation. So you ask yourself, how best can you discharge this trust? You sit back and say, well, all these young men don't have anything to do, so let it go on. At least it's better that they're earning something, that they should be at home and perhaps causing other kinds of problems. When you know that the activities that they're involved in are jeopardizing the very survival of our nation. I took the decision that that would be a betrayal of the trust that the Ghanaian people put in me on the 7th of January this year. I've said it in the cabinet, and perhaps it's the first time I'll be saying it in public. I am prepared to put my presidency on the line on this matter. I've heard it being said that I should be careful. Many of these people voted for me, and if I continue this exercise, perhaps they will not vote for me again. If by the grace of God I'm in a position, my party allows me to go again, and I have the health and everything to go again, that I'll not get it again. And I'll say to myself, well, this is a choice that all of us have to make as human beings. You do what you think is right, or do you do what you think will allow you to get along? I think that you do what you think is right. That is what you're required to do. We cannot win this fight without the support of the traditional authorities of our country. Any serious social mobilization of Ghana, since time immemorial, if you're not involved, it doesn't happen. If you, the chiefs of our country, are not involved, it doesn't happen. So the reason why you've been brought here today is for us to have the opportunity to share with you our thoughts, our strategy, our thinking, and then to ask of you in the name of the generations yet unborn, for your support and active involvement to bring this menace of galamsey to an end. We have to do something which is right for ourselves and for our future. I have absolutely no doubt about it, that if there is one right thing to do in Ghana today, it is the mobilization to stop the phenomenon known as galamsey. It is the right thing for us to do. May God bless you, and may God bless our nation Ghana, and make us free. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
So the president was the guest of honor at this program, which had chiefs from all over the country. You could see the ministers sat there. If you notice, there were bottles of water in different shades of brown in front of them. That was demonstrating the level of turbidity and pollution of the various water bodies, from the Pra to the Ankobra to the Densu to the Ofin, polluted by galamsey. President was firm, he was clear-minded, sounded angry, he was determined. And from the little I know about the president, I've emceed a few programs with him, he wasn't reading a speech, he was speaking from his heart. And he says, I am prepared to fight galamsey, even if it will cost me my presidency. That's what he said. For the sake of the children yet unborn. So this is July 2017. So we are tracing now. A few months later, things started changing, didn't they? Yeah. So at some point, you filed a story that the water bodies in parts of the eastern region have started. Just give me that history. When was it? Was it till 2017? When did the fight sort of start yielding fruits until things started reversing?
In August 2017, when government fully came on board, it decided to put in certain measures that will, let us see results.
So August, a month after this speech?
A month after this speech. So we had Operation Vanguard coming on board. We have the Interministerial Committee being formed. We had 11 mining districts being added on to the Minerals Commission's mining districts. We also had a lot of mining officers and then Forestry Commission guards going out there. So it's...
So there was Operation Vanguard, which was military-led.
Military, police-led, 400-man team.
Which was the interim program before the Interministerial Mining Committee was formed.
Yes.
At the time, Minister was John Peter Amewu.
Yes, please.
Minister of Lands.
Lands and Natural Resources.
Minister of Environment was still Frimpong Boateng. At what point did the control and oversight of Stop Galamsey move from Peter Amewu to Frimpong Boateng?
It was in 2018, yes, when the then Energy Minister was resigned, and Amewu had to...
he was moved
to the Energy Ministry. And then lawyer Kweku Asmacheme, who was the Bono Hafo Regional Minister then, and the former NPP regional chairman, was given that appointment.
Oh, so he's also a former NPP regional chairman?
Yes. Of the Bono Hafo. Yes. He's a lawyer.
Is he a member of parliament?
No, he's not a member of parliament.
But he's an NPP man from BA?
Yes, he's the Bono Hafo regional MPP chairman, who was appointed as regional minister and then later elevated to Lands and Natural Resources
Did the
minister.
president explain why Frimpong Boateng was made the chairman of IMSIM and not Amewu?
Well, at the time, the devastation on the environment was huge. So we needed someone who had, the capacity and then the know-how to, a ministry with that know-how to man these ministries. Mind you, the problem was multifaceted. So we needed Lands and Natural Resources Ministry, we needed Defense Ministry, we needed Interior Ministry, Local Government Ministry, and all other Chieftaincy Ministry, because we'll be dealing with chiefs and all that. But then Frimpong Boateng's ministry was supposed to be there, to chair these...
I'm not too sure it was his ministry. It was him who was made chairperson.
He was the chairperson
of the committee. Not necessarily his ministry, because if you really wanted to speak about it, it was mining that was degrading the environment.
Yes.
Water bodies were also being degraded. Environment was being degraded. But, Frimpong Boateng was made the chairperson of the Interministerial Committee.
So, what was the highest point of the fight against galamsey? At what point did you and the people around see that, wow, we are winning? President speaks in July, August IMSIM starts, end of 2017 into 2018, we are winning.
So the points where you start seeing the turbidity of water move from 3,200 NTUs to start recording 350, 250 was at that point where you thought that, okay, things were beginning to improve. So that was somewhere middle of 2018. So about a year after you've been running all of this, Ghana Water, the immediate successes was when Ghana Water began to open some of the water plants that, like Chebi and Co, that, you began to see, exactly, you began to see that happen. When Operation Vanguard also, epoch times were also arrest of people like Aisha Wang, in the Ashanti region, and you then had a lot more people being arrested, though prosecutions were low. But the signal really for us was the fact that the turbidity of water, and that's something that is very objective. You could see that the turbidity of water had then improved. That was when you could see that change had happened.
And also, let me add to that. And the Interministerial Committee had multifaceted approaches to deal with this. So it came on board with technologies like galamsey. It bought drones. It bought
$3 million worth of drones.
Yes.
200 drones.
200 drones. 200
NAPCO trainees. 200 drones.
All on board. They were trained at the University of Mines and UMAT in Takwa. And then they also had another task force. That's the galamsey task force to augment the efforts of Operation Vanguard, a 62-man team. Yes. Mind you, Operation Vanguard was operating in 4 forward operating bases, the Ashanti, Western, Eastern, and Central regions. But then they needed a special task force to help Operation Vanguard. So it then commissioned a 62 military member team called the galamsey task force.
Galamsey task force.
They also made gains, especially along the Ankobra and then Pra areas.
So who seized the excavators? Was it Vanguard or galamsey? Who? Because we are talking of excavators missing. Who took custody of these excavators initially? I who arrested these excavators?
Well, in 2017, when I joined John Peter Mewu on his various tours, so we were joined by, then Operation Vanguard was not fully operational.
Was not formed yet.
So normally we go with a team of military and police personnel from the district or the regional level. So when they are seized, normally they are supposed to be packed at the police stations. But then because of lack of space, they have to be packed at the various MMDAs. That's what. So between 2017 and 2018, we counted about 500 of them.
500?
Mind you, from all the various mining districts. We've been to Eastern, Western, Ashanti, and Central regions.
So those were the 4? Which was the west of the regions?
Western region.
Western region?
Yes. Takwa and Suayem area.
Western region was number 1?
Yes. Along the Ankobra area. Those are the areas where...
So you had 500 excavators?
Yes.
Between 2017 and 2018?
Yes.
Good. We'll take a break. When we come back, I'll tell you who some people... I'm going to show you some 3 pics. I'm going to show you Horace Ewusi. I'm going to show you Charles Bissell and a few other people. And we're going to tell you who they are and what role they played in the fight against galamsey. And then we'll also trace how things started going south. And then hopefully end with some key action points. This is the point of view. Don't go away. Welcome back to the point of view. Today we're looking for the missing excavators. I'm told that over 500 were seized from people who were operating illegal mining. And we are not sure how many are actually in situ. Umaru Sanda visited some of the galamsey sites and the places where the excavators are being kept. And later on we'll show you what he found. My guest in the studio, Kojo Agyeman, who is a Citi reporter on the galamsey beat, Ashigbey, the convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. Now, I'm going to put a picture on the screen, and I want Kojo to tell me who this person is and why this person is important to this conversation. So I'm going to start with Charles Bissell. Now, I've interviewed Charles Bissell in this studio before, and up until Anas did a report on him, he was a media darling. Who is this person? How did he become part of the galamsey conversation?
So after the formation of the MSIM, we needed someone to coordinate affairs at the Secretariat. That is how come Charles Bissiou came into the picture. He's a trained lawyer.
He's a lawyer?
He's a lawyer by profession, and he's also the NPP Western Regional Secretary.
So far, you've told me that Chairman is a NPP Regional Chairman.
Yes.
Of
He's
BA.
former.
Before he became minister. You are telling me that Charles Bissiou was also an NPP executive?
Yeah, he is. He's an NPP executive and a presidential staffer as well.
So he was NPP what?
He's NPP Regional Secretary of the Western Region.
Up until his appointment?
Yes, please.
And this Western Region is where the problem is?
Western,
the main
Western
area.
Region, Western Region can be described as the hub of illegal mining activities.
Western Region?
Western Region.
Which particular districts?
The Takwa Nsoyem area.
Wow. So, what did Anas tell us about Charles Bissiou, and what is his status now?
Well, Charles Bissiou, before the Anas expose, was tasked to vet small-scale miners who wanted to go back to mine. So over 600 of them brought their licenses and all documents that needed to be verified. So he started the verification processes. He had a team supporting him from UMAT and other stakeholders. So before the video, you know, acquiring a mining license or vetting it can be a daunting task. So in Anas's video, he played a role of a small-scale miner who wanted to have his license vetted, registered a mining company, and then they allegedly induced Charles Bissiou with money to facilitate the process.
To short-circuit the process, to make it faster.
Fast for them. And so he's been investigated by the special prosecutor, but then he's been exonerated by the presidency.
Even before
by the police.
By the police.
So he was exonerated by the police CID?
Yes.
But special prosecutor is still
investigating him.
So the police had a faster work
That's
to do.
how come the MSIM hasn't got any secretary now.
So he hasn't been replaced?
He has not been replaced.
But is he working in the...
Well, he's a presidential staffer.
So he still works at the presidency?
I'm sure, because that's his position before. He doubles as a presidential staffer and secretary to the MSIM.
And where is he from? What town is he from? Do we know?
I know he's from the Western region.
From the Western region? He was a regional secretary?
He contested one of the seats in the Western region in 2012 and then 16 and lost on the ticket of the NPP. I'll find out for you.
Good. So that's Charles Bissiou. I'll come back to Charles Bissiou. Now, who is Horace Ewusi? I want to show him because his name has come up quite significantly this week. In fact, there's a circulating video allegedly with his voice. So show us Horace. Who is this person?
Horace is a UK-based businessman who was selected to be the vice chairman of the NPP in the Central region.
So a lot of chairmen and vice chairmen and secretaries of the NPP
that is where the conflict of interest issue comes in. That all these people manning these various institutions which are supposed to lead the fight against illegal mining are supposedly NPP executives.
What was his job? What was he supposed to do?
His job, he was tasked in 2018 to cut seized excavators, put them on the low beds to designated areas in Accra.
To cut seized excavators. Put them on
low beds, drive them to Accra, located areas by the MSIM.
Well, is he a transport consultant?
I don't know his background, but I know that he's a UK-based businessman.
He was based in the UK?
UK, came back, contested, and he's now suspended. He was suspended over some allegations.
So Professor Frimpong Boateng wrote to the CID that even though this man was to convey these excavators to designated sites, he did not do that. So they should investigate him and arrest him.
Yes.
So this was what happened to him.
So the problem is, Bernard, you know, some of the people behind small-scale mining are party bigwigs. And some too are genuine people doing business. So when you seize his or excavator, he can go to court for a court order, and then you take it to the assembly where the excavator is parked, and then his excavator will be released. So for instance, you can ask Horace to go to, let's say, Takwa Nsoyem for 20 excavators. He'll get there and find only 5. The MC will tell him that, oh, we have a court orders from XYZ, BWC, that they should release this number of excavators to him. And these people are party bigwigs who has control over the MC or the government appointee there. So obviously, the excavators will be released. That's the difficulty Horace failed to report back to Frimpong Boateng, and that is costing him now.
Why is Frimpong Boateng in trouble? Put Frimpong Boateng up there. Because this morning on most media houses, people were calling for his dismissal. Indeed, the NDC MP for Damongo asked that he be arrested.
Yeah.
Why is Professor Frimpong Boateng in so much?
So I watched a video on social media. It's a conversation between Horace and then Frimpong Boateng. Now, in the conversation, Professor Frimpong Boateng was accusing Horace that he gave him a task and he was not able to execute it diligently. And that
the task presumably being conveying the excavators
from one point to another. Accra. And then at the point, the General Secretary of the NPP's name was mentioned in there.
By Horace.
By Horace. That he was supposed to work with John Boadu to make money out of this trade to support party activities.
Horace said this?
Horace said this in the video.
And Frimpong Boateng corroborated that?
Of course, he did.
In the video?
It is in the video. And if you watch the video on social media, you find this conversation very, very, mind-boggling for someone to say that I can't find the missing excavators. And then within 2 weeks, you invite the CID to arrest the same person you tasked to, cut these excavators to locations.
And Horace says that he and John Boadu had met Frimpong Boateng.
Yes, to make money from the supposed cutting of excavators to fund party activities.
And Professor Frimpong Boateng didn't deny that?
He didn't deny because he's in the known of...
So he's aware?
He's aware that these things were discussed. And these are some of the ways that they have to, some of the things that you have to implement to make money.
Ken, how serious is it to hear a vice chairman of a party who's supposed to be conveying galamsey equipment talking to a minister in... Don't forget the video I played for the president, telling us we have to say... Is that... What's going on here?
But I'm not too sure. For me, I've not validated the conversation in the video. So I am really unable to speak to it. But my pain is hearing the chairperson of the Interministerial Committee say that excavators are missing. And the way he said it, it was almost as if, yes, the excavators were missing. And nothing else was being done. It had to take the statement that was issued before we saw all of these actions being taken. And you have to bear in mind that the very roadmap that the Interministerial Committee brought up had mentioned to us that excavators, mining equipment, were going to be registered, tagged, and tracked. And also, these excavators were the ammunitions that were used to destroy our environment. And before all of this had happened, there was a story told about in the Ashanti region where somebody's excavator was missing and it found itself in a forest reserve and was even banned. So for me, the Interministerial Committee should be taking the issues of excavators very, very seriously. And for the minister, even when he was asked, he denied that it was not 500, but he could not even tell us what the numbers were. So definitely for me, at that point, you realize that we're missing the plot.
I asked him at a press briefing last 2 weeks, end of January, how many excavators had been seized. He couldn't give me the exact figure. I asked him how many people had been prosecuted. He struggled with that as well. So it tells you that maybe there are... So Kojo, is it that the way the IMSIM is arranged, there are other centers of power? Because I thought the IMSIM was to bring everybody together.
For me, when they created the IMSIM, I raised doubts whether they will be very, very effective. Because, mind you, we have state institutions that are mandated to deal with such issues. All the Minerals Commission needed was capacity. They needed tools to work with. They needed more mining district. They needed men on the field. They needed to be, well built to deal with these issues. So MSIM was a non-starter. Now, look at the people running MSIM. Charles Bisu, who is an NPP regional secretary. Professor Frimpong Boateng, who is an astute heart surgeon. Minister of Environment, and these things happening. You appoint someone to cut excavators. You don't even do due diligence with the person. This is someone who has been suspended by the party for allegedly involving in fraud cases in the UK. And this same person has been taxed by the MSIM to cut excavators.
I see, for me, Bernard, one of the big things in there, and it's, if you read our statement, was in there, the fact that by the law, the Minerals and Mining Act, once somebody is caught mining, the equipment, when seized, should be under the control of the police. So even if you are going to get somebody else to cut it, it should be the police. The police have their own transport people, so that make sure that it's under the...
Which is why I'm asking you the position of Professor Frimpong Boateng. You say you can't validate the video. But if the law says the police should be in charge of the excavator, and by his own letter to the police, he admits that this man has been contracted to cut.
Yes, the problem is, can I understand you? The laws, per the laws, they are supposed to be, administrated by the police. But when you go to our regional police officers and district police officers, they don't have space.
No, so I'm not saying they should keep them. If the transportation, you're going to transport them, who transports if there are if there are people, suspects who are arrested?
You and I know that the cost of a low bed is between 2,500 cedis and 3,000 for a low bed to transport from Seviyosu to Accra. The police will not be able to bear that cost.
So if Ocean Vanguard is not funded by the military or the police, there's a special fund that funds that.
Yes.
The MSIM is not funded by their own funds. They get funds from the government. It's from the same coffers. And the police are part of it. So what prevented us? Because we have a law, and the law state is very categorical. What prevented us from doing that? I'm pretty sure that the framers of the law were conscious of the fact that these things needed to be protected. Because I'm not too sure if somebody attacked Mr. Horace Ewusi, whether he would be able to protect himself. But if this was under the care of the police, the military, Operation Vanguard, the police.
When he was cutting these, he did so under the auspices of the police and the military.
So why do you introduce a body that is foreign to our laws? Whilst the law is very
two
specific.
Quick points now. You said you don't want to talk about the video because you've not verified it. But do you not think the video should be investigated? Because the contents of the video, if found to be true, do you not suppose that leaves the minister in a very interesting position?
Definitely. For me, I think it is in the interest of the minister himself to want to say this is wrong or right. Because definitely what I have seen in the videos are damning. It's the reason why I want it validated. Because I really...
So if it's validated and it's proved to be true...
Oh, definitely that it would be...
It should be investigated. In fact, the minority in parliament have also, started making calls for his resignation or investigation. Because in the video, you hear the minister interacting with someone who has been mandated to cut excavators. Allegedly talking about how to use that trade to make money to fund political party activities. That is very dangerous. And man, when we were doing the introduction of all these people manning these institutions, you saw a certain political bias in there. That is where the issue of conflict of interest comes in.
Okay, now the man who replaced Horace Ewusi is called Nana Yaobwedu. Earlier today, Umaru Sandamadu visited two places. He went to Ashigbey, near the girl at, we call it Maya Hut. He counted up to 88 excavators. When he finished, he met Nana Yaobwedu, leader of the special team set up by MSIM to account for the excavators. Now, I want you to listen to the numbers because I had other numbers in that interview. So I just want to be clear. We are saying there were 500. When Sanda interviewed Nana Yaobwedu, he gave different figures. So let's hear Sanda with Nanaya.
Let me get properly your designation. I'm the leader of the special team set by the minister, and our job is to monitor, investigate, evacuate, and arrest.
And your name is Nanaya?
Nanaya Obuedu.
Fantastic. So let's begin with the first aspect, monitoring. What were you supposed to be doing?
We were supposed to monitor the operations of Operation Vanguard and galamsey.
And this is under the IMCIM?
Exactly.
Okay. Are you also part of the group that has been seizing the excavators?
No, we are recently took over from my predecessor, Eko, who was in charge of the evacuation.
So you are replacing Eko, who
Yes.
was so you're doing the work that Eko is doing.
Yes,
so
the
you
team is doing it.
so you are cutting excavators from mining sites. Explain to me what your job
Our
entails.
job basically is to move in to arrest all the excavators, evacuate
With the support of the Vanguard.
Yes, and the seized excavators that were seized by the operations of Vanguard and galamsey, so that we can evacuate every machine that was seized by them to a central point, which is at aviation, which you have gone to see it yourself.
I see. So tell me about the seizures. How many have you seized so far since you began this operation? Do you know?
Yes, since we took office, and the record shows that 1st August 2017 to 31st January 2020, as I'm speaking, 315 excavators were seized.
Is it true that hundreds of excavators are missing?
As we have started an investigation, I cannot come out with a figure of the missing missing excavators, but I admit the fact that some of the machines has gone back to the site, and we are now looking into it whether it was sold or it has been rented or it has been given back to the owners.
Where did you take them to after seizing them?
Earlier on, when they seize the machines, they normally take them to the assemblies, then the police station. Then they later decided to evacuate it to Accra, which they started with 4 different yards. One is at Oyarifa, Abelempe Industrial Area, and Tema Community 9. So that was the area that they started evacuating them from the assemblies to those yards.
Across the country?
Across the country.
And who is in charge of these yards? Who owns these yards? Or who runs or manages these yards?
It was under Eko Ewisi's
supervision. And so this was supposed to be the points that you bring them to after seizing them.
Exactly.
And what happens next?
So Eko was supervising it. So after we took over, we did the inventory, and the inventory that we gathered in Accra here was 127.
127? Yeah. That's the number of excavators you have?
That is in Accra here.
Even though you seized 315?
Yes.
Are there other yards across?
As we speak, some are in Obuasi.
Do you know how many are in Obuasi?
I can't give you the figure.
Do you have an estimate?
I don't want to come out with a figure for now, since I don't have it right here. And
where else do you?
It's in Takwa, the Vanguard yard.
What is your plan?
Our plan is that we want to get one central point, so that whoever comes that he's looking for his machine can easily access it. So that when you go there and you don't see your machine or don't find your machine, then you can easily come up boldly that yes, it's true, your machine is missing.
And what happens to them when they are brought to this central point? What is the next plan after you bring them there?
That one I leave it to the government. Now what we plan doing is that we are not going to do any cover-up again. We are going with a camera. So when we enter the site, there will be a camera on it. We want Ghanaians to know whatever is happening at the mining site. So when you are doing the right thing, Ghanaians will know. When you are not doing the right thing, Ghanaians will know.
So that was Nanaya Obuedu, and I just want to remind you of some of the things he said. He ended by saying we are not going to do any cover-up again.
We're not going to do the cover-up.
And we are going to go with cameras. So I think they'll take a cue from War Against Indiscipline, go with cameras. Between 1st August 2017 and 31st January 2020, 315 excavators seized. Initially sent to district assemblies. Supposed to be sent to 4 areas. Industrial area in Accra, Oyarifa in Accra, Abelempe in Accra, Tema Community 9. Those are 4 areas. How many are in Accra? 127. Which means you have over 180 not accounted for. Where are the rest? Between Obuasi and Takwa. How many in Obuasi? He can't tell. How many in Takwa? He can't tell. So if we are asking where are the excavators, government needs to tell us how many excavators are in Obuasi, how many are in Takwa, add it to 127 in Accra. The difference between that and 315 is where the problem is. Ken, I think this arithmetic makes sense.
It definitely makes sense. But you also need to go back and consider the fact that there was a 500 number before his 315 numbers. And we also need to recognize the fact that there were times when these excavators were seized because the Operation Vanguard did not have low loaders. What they did was that they immobilized them, and sometimes apparently the galamseyers also had the ninja team that then came afterwards and then came to come and put them back and use them. So that also definitely could have happened. But we also need to consider the fact that there are people who have been screaming and shouting about the fact that they can't find their excavators. So it means they've gone through the 317 and they still cannot find them. So
and he also admits that some of the excavators have gone back to the site.
Exactly.
So the 500 figure was not wrong.
It wasn't wrong.
Definitely.
We taught 9 mining districts. Takwa alone is over 1,000 hectares concessions. Yes, Bernard. That's why I said is a hub of small scale mining area in the western region. So 9 mining district, 500 excavators. Now let me ask these questions. So the Minerals Commission could have done this job.
Which job?
Seizing of excavators, carting them, and then finding a place to put these excavators.
We didn't need Horace.
We didn't need
or Nanaya or anybody.
We didn't need a special task force led by Horace, who is on suspension now, to cut excavators.
The Minerals
Commission could have done a better job.
You think?
Because they know they issue mining licenses. They know the coordinates of who has this concession, where this concession is. So they could have done a better job with the seizure and then the cutting and then safekeeping of these excavators. We should also not forget the fact that, it was a lack of coordination between MSIM and then Minerals Commission that has brought all these issues up. MSIM at that point was doing the work of the Minerals Commission. For example, when it comes to the vetting of mining license, it's the job of the Minerals Commission to do that.
So you've taken their job away from them?
Yes.
Who runs Minerals Commission?
Minerals Commission is led by a former mine expert, Nchibwe Siako.
Has he ever said anything since this thing started?
No, he's not spoken.
He's not given any interview?
He's not given.
You interviewed him from Boating a few weeks ago.
Yes.
What did you ask him?
I was particular about political figures behind illegal mining. And then he told me that they are going to come after them. And I asked him, is he not afraid it's an election year? He said, no, he's going to come after those people, those political, bigwigs behind illegal. Mind you, a week before that, a forestry commission official from Bekwai had said that the reason why the Odahun forest is being depleted is the fact that political bigwigs are behind mining in the forest.
I'll take another break. When I come back, I'll read your messages and I'll take you to the Western region because the man in charge of our water in that region says if something doesn't change drastically, we will not get water to drink. And then we'll take recommendations from Mr. Ashigbey. This is the point of view. Don't go away. This is the point of view, and it's the saga of the excavators we're trying to unravel. Don't forget, we started in April 2017 with the media coalition against galamsey. July, the president said he wasn't going to sacrifice our future for his presidency, and that even if it meant he would lose the election, he would fight galamsey. There's an interesting graph that I wanted to show you on water turbidity in Bunso. Now, I think that graph will tell you that the highest point of the galamsey fight was between April, May, June, July, August, September of 2017. After that, things started going south. So after the president's speech and after the formation of that committee, the water quality began to improve because the whole nation's attention was on it. The moment we took our eye off the bat, things reversed, and that graph will prove this point. But let me read a few comments. Good evening, Bernard. I'm Prince from Kojo that the president may have committed his heart to fight the galamsey canker, But the authorities down there are making the fight difficult to achieve. Like the MMDCs, the party executives and some chiefs. By the way, I love your suit. It's on point. Thank you for the suit. It's made by Click and Dimples. They do nice suits. Bernard, my name is Bagbin Mpondan from Kintampo South. Can you help answer this question for me? What has happened to the $3 million which was used to purchase drones to monitor illegal mining? 2, what is the progress of Charles Bissell case with CID? CID has cleared him. 3, what is the actual number of missing excavators? Well, the numbers are 315 minus 127 plus O plus T. That equation, I can't solve it. 315 minus 127 plus Obuasi plus Takwa. So the answer is somewhere there. How many people have been prosecuted by the government since the formation of the Interministerial Committee against illegal mining? I asked the minister and he said I forget the number he gave. Kojo will find that number for me. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm. It's time the president cracked the whip for all to see, but I wonder if something good will come out of this investigation. Thomas at Kwetia. The seriousness of this problem lies in the complicity of some traditional authorities and political actors. As for the claim by the president that he would put his presidency on the line, the least said about them, it's the better. It's just political talk. Clearly, he doesn't mean it. All right. How many people have been arrested? Do we know? Because there was also an issue of the judiciary.
Yes. And I think it's been one of the weakest links. Before this excavator issue came, it was the weakest link because the last time I heard the Prefecture Vanguard commander talk, he was talking about 5% convictions. Mm-hmm. All of us have been complaining about it. I remember the Media Coalition petitioned in the situation in which Chinese had been arrested and then prosecuted in a circuit court in Takwa. And these are foreigners. So even before the law was amended, the sanctions for them was not 2,400 Ghana cedis fines. It was more than that if we were just going to do fines. So definitely the the justice delivery system is a problem. And I remember last week speaking to one of the Supreme Court judges, and his suggestion was the fact that to really deal with this issue, let's bring every case, in this galamsey cases, to Accra. Have the focus on it and prosecute them here. Because once you get them into these places, all kinds of things happen.
The judiciary is stronger in the capital.
Yes, and at least there you would have the focus on it. But you would not have the situation where goats and things would change hands. And this is a matter of public record. It happened in the past.
So that's first recommendation.
Yes.
What other recommendation do you have?
The second recommendation is the media. You have demonstrated your power. Just when you raise the issue of excavators, look at what has happened. So one of the challenges we had was that the media and Citi FM's, you really started the Citi FM, Joy FM, Peace FM, Daily Graphic. You started all of this when you abhorred with what, and you took your leg off the foot because there are other things to do.
We didn't.
You did.
We did.
If you look at,
so the media should come back. So judiciary should bring cases to Accra.
Yes.
Media should go back to Galamsey.
Yes. Then also is the fact that we need to work with the laws that we have.
Should anybody be sacked?
Oh, definitely. For me, one of the recommendations is that the president, having put his political career on the line, should sack every DCE, MCE, who is the chairpersons of the district mining committees, chairpersons of the district security committees that still have galamsey happening in their communities. They should be dismissed. That is the way, that's the surest way of dealing with this. If they have issues, have you had any DC come to complain that I'm trying to fight galamsey and it's not happening? We've not had them. Currently, if you go to Kwabing, the SHS that is there, they are mining, they are doing galamsey close by the SHS. Are you telling me that the DC does not know what is happening? We need to also get to the point where chiefs and landowners on whose land galamsey is happening, we need to start taking the slippers of their feet. We need to start holding these leaders to account. The intelligence community, they are also failing us. You remember when this galamsey fight started? We got some reports of some people who had been tracked. We shouldn't leave the investigative work to only the media. The intelligence community, they have the power to be able to unravel those big wigs that are behind us. If really they want to do it, they will be able to do it.
Mm-hmm. Kojo, you have the last word.
Well, for me, I think we need institutional reform. So, for example, the powers of MSEM conflicts the powers...
Disbanded.
We should collapse MSEM and resource adequately the Minerals Commission. They can do this job. Now, they have decentralized offices. They have more mining officers, and they have tools and equipment to work.
Very interesting. Well, we've been tracing the whereabouts of the excavators as an entry point into the fight against galamsey. It's very clear when the media backs, things work. So we have to get back to this fight. My guests have been Ken Ashigbey, convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining. The coalition is still strong. Kojo Agyeman, who's covered more hectares of galamsey land than most journalists I know. Thank you for watching this edition of The Point of View. My name is Avle. Stay with Citi TV. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.